got a preacher.
We don't.
Is that what you're looking for? Good.
The meeting of the Nottaway County Board of Supervisors has now come to order. Mr. Bowen, will you give us the invocation, please?
You got a preacher?
You went bad, so you are, yeah, I thought that was you. Will you do invocation,
Okay, will you
please?
come, please? Okay.
They don't have as much confidence in me preaching. And I understand.
Good afternoon to all of you, to our Board of Supervisors, to each and every one of you. Grateful to be here with you tonight as we begin our new year together. Let us bow for prayer. Gracious God, our Father, we thank you again for another year you blessed us to see. We thank you, merciful God, for your many blessings.
Yes, Lord.
You brought us through 2020, and we know, God, that you'll take us through 2021.
Yes.
We pray a special blessing upon our Board of Supervisors tonight. Thank you for each and every one that has assembled themselves. And we pray, God, that as we continue to move by your grace and your mercy, that you will govern the hearts of each and every one of us, that we'd work together in our community, Lord, as we try to continue to be unified, to show love, just as your word calls us to do. We thank you for all those that are represented tonight from all walks of life. Guard our hearts and our minds. We thank you, Lord, for our county. We thank you for those that do their best to allow us to live together in unity. Allow us to live as a community, as a beloved community. Be with us now. In your precious name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Wonderful words. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much. We'll now have the Pledge of Allegiance. I
Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America
which stands, one nation, God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We'll now have the approval of the agenda.
Mr. Chairman, if we could, I'd like to add one code section to the agenda for closed session tonight. It would be to add 2.2-3711-A-1 personnel.
Personnel, okay.
Yes, sir. And with that, if there's no other discussion, I move to approve the agenda.
Do I got a second?
Under 3, you have to have a subject as well.
You have to have a subject as well. It's not a,
Gotta have a subject.
You have to have a subject as well.
Personnel?
That's not the subject, that's the code provision.
Agency, what part versus a county department?
County Administrator's Office.
Okay. Stand for lack of a second.
Now we got it straight. I got a second. I'll second.
Second, okay. It's been moved and properly second that we amend the agenda. Citing the code that,
they vote on this first. Mr. Chairman, I also would like to request an amendment of the agenda to revise the closed session as it currently reads.
will your second cover her?
Well, let's
Just
hear
a moment, I'm not through. To revise the closed session as it currently reads on the agenda, to read pursuant to Virginia Code Section 2.2-3711A8, consultation with legal counsel regarding personnel matters and procurement.
Okay. Your
And
second.
so let me get things straight. I got all whacked out. I second his motion. So are you amending that? You are requesting to?
Yours was an addition, mine is a revision of what was currently on the
Okay,
agenda.
I think we got to close this one out first.
Go on, and then I'll second the next
Yes.
one.
Okay, so close this one out first, and then let's. All right, so I second his motion.
Right. Those in favor, let it be known by the usual sign.
Aye.
Those opposed? No.
Now, Lynn made her motion, I'll second it.
Will you make your motion and?
I made a motion, yes.
Second.
Second. It's removed and second. The amendment that Mrs. Shackleton is talking about? Those in favor, let it be known by the usual sign.
Aye.
Those opposed, the ayes have it. Okay. Minutes, we had 2 sets of minutes, I believe. We had the December minutes and the organizational minutes.
Mr. Chairman, if it's allowed, I'll move to approve December 17th, 2020 and January 4th minutes.
Okay.
Second.
It's been moved that we receive and adopt the minutes from the 17th of December and January the 4th. Those in favor, let it be known by the usual sign.
Aye.
Those opposed, the ayes have it. We'll now have delegations from the public. I'm going to start with Mr. Frisbee.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Of course, my phone had to ring, so. I'm here because of customer service in Nottaway County. And before I start, I'm not here to throw nobody under the bus, but I want to make one statement. What don't affect you directly will affect you indirectly. And the reason I say that is because my granddaughter was, because of COVID, was given to me. So by me being a male, I reached out to Nottaway County and I said, well, what do I need to do? Because the job I got a security clearance. I'm not gonna have the sheriff or nobody asking me why I got this child in my home. You know, you're not telling me anything about what's going on. So I said, well, do I search it? Do I look for bruises? What do I do? You're the Department of Social Services. I called the number, you can't get through the number, so that sucks right there. Then, once you finally get through the number, somebody answer it, they ask you all these questions about who, what, when, why. And I'm saying, hey, please tell me, get to the point. What do you want me to do with my granddaughter? And give me some type of protocol so I can be safe and she can be safe. None of that was happening. So finally, I had to call Mr. Rock. I called him, everybody reaching out. So even if I'm not at the right meeting, I came up in person to say, thank you, Mr. Rock, because since you did what you did, all these agencies have been calling me. And they finally, it took Petersburg and Richmond to reach out for me and to tell me what did I have to do. I shouldn't have to reach as a tax. If I owe you a bill in Nottaway, you know what you're gonna do? You're gonna send it to my house and you put Nottaway County on it. You're gonna make sure I understand it. Then when I open it up, it's gonna be bolded and it'll be in red letters. So by the time I finish reading that letter, I'm gonna know everything about what you want. So if a customer comes to you, give that customer the same courtesy. You know, I shouldn't have to be up here. I gotta put it in school. I gotta put it in this Georgia, the system. All these questions, I gotta figure out what to do. So if anybody up here can help me so I can make sure that my daughter is in the right environment and doing the right thing, that's all I'm asking. I guess that's it.
Yeah. I'm glad you got your help. I'm glad I could help you.
Yes, thank you very much.
And we'll
Thank you,
stay in
Mr.
touch, sir.
President.
Mr. Chairman, I just feel, if you would, give me, to speak freely to Mr. John Rourke. I'm just curious, so I know you're on the Social Services Board. Did this issue come up to the board or did it just come to you directly? And how did that, and is the board addressing what he's going through, you know?
The board will be meeting again in February. What happened with Mr. Frisbee was unfortunate. It appeared to be, he was being shuffled through the system. And when he reached out to me, all I did was make a phone call, which if it's that easy for me to make a phone call, it should have been that easy for him. He was the one in the need.
I got you. Okay.
So,
Mr. Frisbee, kudos to you for taking care of the child, and anyway, thank you for coming tonight. I just wanted to clarify that, Mr. Chairman.
I talked to Mr. Frisbee some time ago about that.
Okay.
Mr. Cruz?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, for granting me the opportunity to speak tonight, and congratulations. I hope and pray that everyone and their families are doing well. I stand before you tonight to speak briefly on 3 specific topics. First, I want to remind the board of the unnecessary referendum on the ballot this coming November. Requests have repeatedly been made to the board asking that each member publicly articulate where they stand on this issue. That is not a request to know how you plan to vote as a member of the board, as some of you have taken pledges to follow the lead of how your district votes on the referendum. It is a request to know how you personally feel about it. As leaders in our community and members of this board, you should vocalize where you stand, personally stand. Second, I want to stand before the board tonight and articulate the desperate need to do more to protect our community from being ravaged by COVID-19. The infection rate continues to escalate. Last week, the school board voted to allow children in grades 5 through 12 to go back to school. This opens up our county to the possibility of even higher infection rates. I ask each of you tonight, has the school board reached out and attempted to coordinate with you about this potential crisis that they have voted to force upon our community? And third, I want to once again reiterate the need for this board to have a committee on broadband. This board needs to create a committee that is devoted to seeking and finding ways to establish 100% high-speed internet across the entire county. If this board is waiting for the federal or state government to swoop in and solve the problem, we'll be dead before we see it. We need a committee that can investigate all of our options so that we can make an informed decision as a community on what path we believe is best to take to achieve universal high-speed broadband access across the entire county. I'm asking for any member of this board to make a motion tonight to create such a committee. Thank you, Mr. Chairman, for giving me the opportunity to speak tonight.
Thank you, Mr. Cruz.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to speak on that if I could also, and I thank you, Mr. Cruz, for coming tonight. I think that's going to be the problem. You can do a committee, you know, we can do a committee all we want. But, you know, I've been going to the CRC meetings, and right now, the CRC has talked to the Nottaway County Board of Supervisors as well as the county schools, and they're they're putting an application in as a region for what they call this fast-track broadband funding. Nottaway County is not going to get funding if they stay on an island. They have to get funding. They got to go regional. So I'm okay if you want to do a committee, that's fine, but it better be a regional committee because the state's not going to listen to you. Just telling you. Okay. But anyway. Just want to share that. We actually went to we went virtual the last 2 meetings with CRC, but anyway, we had that little discussion the other day too. Same thing.
Okay, thank you, Mr.
Mr. Chairman, if I could just let Mr. Cruz know that I got some information I can give you on the COVID stuff. If we could set up maybe a time tomorrow or something like that, I'll give you that information.
Mr. Seth, is that Monahan?
Good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Can folks hear me okay?
Yes, sir.
Okay. My name is Seth Mon. I'm visiting today from Reston, Virginia. I'm a representative of Sol UNESCO and the Dickerson Creek Solar Project, which we're developing here in Ottawa County. Just wanted to say hello, introduce myself, and say that we applaud the county's efforts to responsibly embrace our development type. We certainly hope that our project can serve as a pilot project, so to speak, in the very near future when you're ready for that. Just also wanted to say that Sol UNESCO has had a lot of experience working with other counties across the Commonwealth, and especially here in Southside, who are viewing solar for the first time. And just want to say that we're very keen on the opportunity to offer the industry's perspective should any questions arise during your discussion tonight or in the future. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thank
Appreciate
you.
your offer.
Mrs. Yates?
Good evening. My name is Sue Yates, and I am addressing the board as a citizen of Nottoway. Last month, Steve Bowen made a recommendation to the board that the board eliminate committees. When he broached this question, he stated, "I don't want to drop a bomb on all you folks, but I want to take a look at these rules and procedures." He then went on to say that he wants to do away with scheduled work sessions and have work sessions as needed. To Mr. Vaughn's credit, he recommended that we not use the word eliminate, but to suspend. I see there was at least one clear thinker that night.
Good job, Mr.
Steve then laughed and said, "Okay," and laughs again. "You've been in this longer than I have been. We agreed to this till 2023, but the government changes the rules all the time." Then Steve laughs again. What a sad commentary. As the conversation went on, it was clear that the bomb was not laid on the board, but had clearly been discussed before the meeting, as was exemplified by Ms. Shackleton's response when she made reference to some research she had done on this prior to the meeting. Mr. Bowen, your words and Ms. Shackleton's words, not mine. So what was it, Mr. Bowen? Now we'll ask you, what are your plans for inviting the public to hear what is going on in their local government? Or is this a part of your plan at all? It is clear that the board has been under serious scrutiny for quite a while, as is obvious by the fact that the County of Nottoway is currently under investigation. Mr. Rourke, you ran for the office on transparency, and quite frankly, there is nothing about this proposal that seems transparent to me, and this should concern all citizens. Mr. Bowen, as for laughing about the fact that government changes the rules all the time, wow. I don't find that funny at all in light of what our nation is going through right now. It would be my hope that we at Nottoway County could be better than that. The citizens of Nottoway have reason to be concerned about what is going on in our local government with everything that has been discovered in recent months. Procurement issues, fire issues, mold issues, and administrator issues, which leads me to bring up another concern. Our administrator, Mr. Rourke, tendered his resignation/retirement in last month's board meeting. The message came to the citizens via an unsigned letter that was submitted to Helen Simmons, from which she read. I would like to know what steps have been properly taken to accept this unsigned resignation. At the time the letter was produced, it became clear that this county was being asked to pay Mr. Rourke a total of 3 months' worth of vacation time. After some research and one simple question, was there any documentation contained or held by this county that showed that this county owed Mr. Rourke a full 3 months of paid vacation leave? I was told in writing that no such document existed. If this is so, how does this board feel it is acceptable to pay Mr. Rourke in excess of $38,500 in accrued vacation time? Supervisors, this is a lot of money being taken from taxpayers without any paperwork trail to substantiate it. Further, who is the administrator at this time? Who is running this county? And if in fact Mr. Rourke is not returning to the office ever again, why is this county allowing the continued use of a county car, telephone, and why does he still retain keys to the office? Why is this county and its residents taking on this type of liability? It sounds to me that Mr. Rourke has one foot in the door and another one out of the door. Further, when or how is the board going to formally accept this proposal without a vote or even a signature from Mr. Rourke? I'm requesting tonight that this board respond to each and every question that I have asked in writing. In closing, I have heard complaints from this board about ongoing FOIA requests. Let me remind you that the reason FOIA came about was to create transparency in government, but nothing about what I have addressed tonight gives me the feeling of transparency. In fact, Mr. Bowen's recommendation completely excluded any concern for the citizens, but rather was about the feelings of the board only. This is disappointing, but I guess not surprising. I want to remind you all that you were elected by the people, for the people. You are not here for yourselves. You are here to serve us. Thus, the phrase, public servant.
Thank you, Ms. Yates.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to speak freely, but not get into debate, just want to respond.
Yes.
That's okay. So, first of all, I was chairman when she wasn't town councilwoman then, she was regular citizen, but she's been elected since then. But since Councilwoman Yates
I would
came
like
to
to
the board.
object to that. I am coming here tonight.
Mr. Chairman, I got the floor,
following
correct?
that-
I got the
I'm
floor.
calling
Ms. Yates,
She asked me
Point
to
of order.
respond, but she don't want me to respond.
point of order.
That's the point.
Point
I
of
can't, I can't,
order.
I can't
I
speak
did
freely.
not come here tonight as a county.
Oh, okay, so-
As an elected
right,
official.
okay.
I came here tonight as a citizen.
Okay,
And
so-
I will continue to come here as a citizen always.
Okay.
Because let me tell you, my citizenship in this
Yeah, I
county
can't-
came
Mr.
long
Vaughn.
before.
You can't
Mrs.
respond to
My
her 'cause-
election
Mrs. Yates,
Okay, she turns the button off and says, I'm as citizen now, and I feel like the town of Crew citizens deserve more than that. You elected, you elected. But anyway, so let's move on.
Point of order again, point
no,
of-
we are not going to have this
This is
tonight.
why you can't answer a
Personal
question,
privilege.
because it's always it's got to get the last word, so it's okay.
Ms. Yates, please sit.
Okay.
Point of personal privilege. I'm a citizen here tonight.
I'm laughing again. Gosh,
Well, let me
it's
laugh.
ridiculous, man. You can't even answer the question.
Ms. Yates, this meeting is not going to be disrupted.
Excuse me?
Now, please sit. I'll
I
stand,
would
or
like to
whatever you want to do. We're not talking, you don't have the floor anymore. Mr. Abbott, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, for almost giving me the floor. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
members of the board, I'll try to be a little bit different. There are questions throughout the county related to our long-serving county administrator. Now, I recognize and understand that you generally oppose answering questions asked by citizens during this segment of the agenda. However, I respectfully suggest and request that they should be answered to reassure those wondering by providing full and complete transparency. It wasn't very long ago that the former chair, Ms. Simmons, read a document reportedly from Mr. Ronnie Rourke, in part outlining that he would be on vacation from January 1 through March 31 and retiring on April 1st, 2021. Your answers, with the assistance and help from the other board members, should remove doubt and rumors on the following. Has Mr. Rourke's authorities as county administrator been taken from him by motion when Mr. Prosai was named deputy county administrator? Has there been a letter written and delivered to Mr. Rourke outlining the board's position dealing with his basic removal from his position? Does this alleged letter remove all his previously held authorities if they were not removed by the motion I just mentioned? Has the board officially accepted Mr. Rourke's resignation? Is there a plan to accept it before April 1st? Based on the changes voted in the last meeting, will you clarify, please? Are some committees going to be led by one board member? Are these new committees, when led by one board member, going to be advertised to the public like the Planning Committee is currently and in keeping with the Code of Virginia? Note, the Planning Committee has been working with one board member and has advertised in the Courier Record for years, and the 2.23707E of the code is the other part. Finally, are you aware that there are petitions being circulated to remove 3 of you from office? I reverently ask, if that knowledge impacts in any way how the business of the county will be handled. Thank you. I have provided copies to assist in obtaining the relevant information. Thank you very much for listening.
Thank you, Mr. Evans.
That ends the delegations from the public. We will now go into the public hearings presentation. We'll now have Robson Palmer Cox. presentation of the audit.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. My pleasure to be here tonight with you to present the 2020 financial audit. At the outset, I would say doing an audit during a pandemic was a little bit different and difficult, as you can imagine, but we had plenty of cooperation here, and everything turned out fairly well. You say that you've received an unmodified opinion on the financial statements that have been prepared. There were no compliance. I'm sorry, I've got a mask. You gotta take.
It's the microphone, sir.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Thank you.
How's that?
Thank you.
Okay. There were no compliance issues to deal with for the major federal programs, and no material weaknesses to report. And I'll also mention that last year's, we reported that the Title I program had not achieved compliance. That has been corrected. I think there's a page in the back of the report that discusses that, at least that corrections were made, and we audited Title I again as a major program, and that came out fine. For the year, your fund balance dipped a little bit, about $900,000. But if you recall, during the year, you forgave a loan from the landfill fund, or at least a loan from the general fund to the landfill fund, so that took the fund balance down, not $900,000, but the loan was more than that. But without that forgiveness, you would not have had that there. Tax collection percentage is still 98%. That's still good. If you look on a 10-year average, you're always in that range. You need to know that as you're doing the budget, so you can know whether the levy you assess is going to get collected or not. And the other thing I would mention, the CARES Act money that was received in June, none of that had been spent as of June 30th. So the fund balance that you see at June 30th doesn't include any of the CARES Act money in it. That was actually deferred as a deferred revenue or deferred item. I would expect for this coming year that the federal compliance will really zero in on the CARES Act and any other major programs that haven't been done in the past. But I would expect that the CARES Act would be paramount among those. The only comments we had just I know the board does economic interest statements every year. We've got all of those for the board. We got all of those for the school board. EDA also has to do them, or the IDA, and we were missing a couple there. So really encourage everybody to fill those out. It's a code section that you have to do that. And so to make sure not only the school board and the board of supervisors, but the IDA as well, fill those out and turn them in. Other than that, that's what I wanted to present tonight, other than take any questions you may have.
Okay. Any questions for Mr.?
I just got one. As I understand this report, it shows no deficiencies. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Was any money missing?
No, sir. I mean,
Okay.
no.
Okay. There were some accusations against us that money could be missing, but you say it is not. Okay, thank you very much. All right.
Lynn? Any questions?
No.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
The next presentation will be by the Meline House. This is Claudia Brown and Candy Hayes.
Good evening, Mr. Chair. As the absence of one of our board members, Ms. Claudia Brown, due to the pandemic, she is quarantining due to work restrictions. But however, good evening. My name is Candy Hayes. I am the Domestic Violence Program Director for Southside Center for Violence Prevention, the agency of Meline House, the Domestic Violence Program, and SAVE, our Sexual Assault Victim Empowerment Program. First, I'd like to thank you all for the continue to allow us to speak tonight as we have in the past at your board meetings yearly. Secondly, I would like to share with you our efforts that we have made in 2020 in spite of the pandemic. We continue to provide free and confidential services as we always have, to include counseling and crisis intervention, advocacy and accompaniment, education, resources, and referrals to shelter victims of dating and domestic violence and sexual violence, such as sexual harassment, sexual assault, and sex trafficking. We continue to provide these services to victims who reside in Nottoway County. In 2020, we served 13 individuals from Nottoway, providing a total of 12 shelter stays for individuals totaled. As you remember, last year we expanded our therapy program to have all of our clinical staff trained significantly in play therapy, amongst some others. We expanded our food donation program to our community clients and established ourselves as a facility for sheltering animals and families together. We found that individuals were actually choosing not to leave violent situations because they treat their pets as the same as they do their children. And they don't want to leave their pets at home with an abusive spouse or significant other the same as they wouldn't want to leave their children. This year, our efforts to continue our strategic plan quickly halted and shifted with COVID-19, as many other organizations did. While many businesses closed or shifted to online services, we have victims living at our shelter. So we weren't unable to take that route, and we were forced to find ways to improve our facility and practice in ways that allowed us to continue to serving the victims while also trying to keep staff and our clients safe. For example, we usually have a 24-bed facility and 24 beds available. But with the pandemic, we were no longer allowed individuals to share rooms. We were not allowed, who are not family, limit us to 7 rooms instead of our 24, instead of our 9, excuse me, which really put us down to about 11 beds total versus our 24. We were able to keep our doors open for most of the pandemic, though we had to initially limit the number of clients to 5 people to abide by state restrictions, and we had to close temporarily for a few days when there were suspected cases. In those situations, we were able to offer hotel stays or referrals to other shelters. Additionally, because we knew it was difficult for clients to be able to house hunt during this time, we lifted our 30-day restriction and provided many extensions to their stays. In addition to our shelter services, we continue providing counseling, though we had to temporarily stop offering support groups for safety reasons. As you may remember, we have a clinical psychological staff. As she has not been formally trained in school to provide telehealth, she and one of our master level clinicians, which will be myself, both completed an extensively nationally recognized program in telehealth and did exhaustive research in telehealth platforms. For our current clients who were not able to continue to engage in in-person services because of COVID, we were able to offer transition to telehealth services for those individuals who were seeking mental health services and needed and relied on being able to talk to their counselor weekly. We now offer telehealth to keep those relationships going. We've also continued to offer advocacy and accompaniment, such as accompanying victims to hospitals, courts, or other appointments. Unfortunately, there were times when appointments and or accompaniment was limited by the other facility due to COVID restrictions, in which we provided accompaniment to office parking lots, which we've had some agencies, because of the COVID restrictions, that they may have done supervised visitations in a park or do supervised exchanges in a parking lot, let's say of the sheriff's department or something. The most significant change to our service was our education and outreach program. With the pandemic, all festivals, fairs, and events, were canceled throughout our counties. So we did not have the opportunity to table with our outreach materials or to present to groups on violence and prevention. Our outreach staff uses time to create materials individualized to different groups, such as first responders and teachers, and to keep a presence on social media. However, we continue to look forward and hopefully be able to engage with you and resume our services as normal, as most do in 2021. I will also add, if anyone knows of any place that brochures or information needs to be put out, please let us know. Just call our office and we will make sure that someone gets information to wherever it is that you need. Or if you personally want information to put out somewhere, please let us know. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Any questions about the Meline House
Ms. Hayes did a good job with that.
presentation? Mr. Robertson, will you come forward, please?
Chairman, Board, I'd like to thank Steve for talking to me. So, have y'all had a chance to read this resolution in the packet? Steve, did you get to read it?
Yes, sir.
Y'all got to read it too?
Yes.
Okay, just want to talk, citizen to citizen. I know y'all been elected and stuff, but let's just talk. That's what needs to happen more in this country, and lots happened since the last I seen y'all last month. A lot of things. I'd just like to ask y'all, one by one, what does the Bill of Rights mean to each of y'all? I know y'all took an oath to uphold the Constitution, but what does it mean, y'all? Anything? I mean, personally, what do you believe?
Mr. Robertson, rather than giving my personal view, I wondered if you'd mind if I ask you a couple of questions before we get too deeply into this. Is Campbell County the only county right now that has
Campbell County is
adopted
standing
this?
alone, and Campbell
Okay.
County should not be alone.
It's my understanding, Bedford County, when they considered this, their legal counsel advised that a Board of Supervisors, no board resolution that opposes executive orders has any legal power. And I noted in the resolution, it referenced instructing the sheriff to take certain action. The board also doesn't have authority over constitutional officers. So I'm wondering I'm just wondering if this is better taken to the state legislature rather than to the county board.
Because when one branch of government does not listen to the people, it's up to the leaders to nullify anything that is void or repugnant to the Constitution. That's what James Madison said. He's known as the father of our Constitution. He wrote the Virginia Resolution, and Thomas Jefferson also echoed this when he wrote the Kentucky Resolutions. What Bedford does or not, that's up to Bedford, but I'm asking y'all to uphold your oath to the Constitution.
Well,
Any law
let me say, so in your resolution, it says, therefore, the Nottaway County Board of Supervisors orders its sheriff to arrest any state police officer, and it goes on. The sheriff was elected just like we are. He's not a judge. That's not judicial system. He is there to arrest people. A town councilwoman came up here last week fussing about the sheriff and see what side he's on. That man is trying to do his job. And he is not, I can't see us ordering, Greg, I can't see us ordering the sheriff to do anything. And it's not, he's trying to follow the Constitution. He's elected just like we are. So is the Commonwealth Attorney. But, I don't think it's fair the way he was treated last month. I don't think it was even fair.
That sheriff took the same oath y'all took, to the same Constitution all of us can read. It was written in plain enough English so every man could understand it.
I get that, but the purpose of you saying is because people gathering. Okay. We work at the same place, and people are dying. That's a pandemic. We got people dying.
So are you willing to sacrifice your
I'm
freedom?
not. I didn't say that to you. I'm saying leave the sheriff alone, and let's try to get back to some normalcy and get this country back on its feet, and let's do it together and be healthy. That's what I'm asking.
Well, you're a lot more understanding when we talked on the phone.
I understand that. Listen, I won't understand because I hadn't read it, Mr. Robinson. I hadn't read it. I told you that. Then I read and studied it. And then I seen more people die. So it's
The right
tough.
for the people to peacefully assemble means nothing to you.
Now, did I say that?
Mr. Bowen, Mr. Robinson, we're going to take this under
So,
advisement.
so here's the problem. Anytime people speak, even if I speak honestly, you're going to have people that want to throw rocks at you, but I'm telling you like it is, we've seen people die.
Mr., you're exactly right.
Right.
People are dying, but
I'll talk to him, Sherman.
Mr. Robinson, go ahead with your presentation, and then we'll take it under advisement.
Okay, I'll read the presentation so everyone else can hear.
That's it.
Resolution of the Nottaway County Board of Supervisors declaring Nottaway County a First Amendment sanctuary. The foundation of any free society is that all governments are instituted among men, deriving their just powers from the consent of the governed. That the most basic of human rights, the right of the freedom of speech, of religion, and the press, to peacefully assemble and to petition the government for a redress of grievances, should not just be zealously defended, but jealously guarded by all members of government. For every member of our government swears an oath before all to abide by the constitutions of Virginia and the United States. A constitution is a compact between the people and the government that they instituted, and any violation by that government is a breach of the compact between them and the people. All actions that violate the Constitution are null and void and of no effect, and no citizen is bound to submit to any illegal act made by any person or government. When despotic and fiendish men come to power within a government, it is not only the right, but the duty of the people to arrest the progression of evil. Whereas the Constitution of Virginia, Article 1, Section 1 states that all men are by nature equally free and independent and have certain inherent rights, of which, when they enter into any state of society, they cannot by any compact deprive or divest their prosperity, namely the enjoyment of life and liberty, and the means of acquiring and possessing property, and pursuing and obtaining happiness and safety. And whereas the Constitution of Virginia, Article 1, Section 12 states that the freedoms of speech and of the press are among the great bulwarks of liberty, and can never be restrained except by despotic governments, that any citizen may freely speak, write, and publish his sentiments on all subjects, being responsible for the abuse of that right, that the General Assembly shall not pass any law abridging the freedom of speech or of the press, nor of the right of the people to peacefully to assemble and to petition the government for the redress of grievances. And whereas Governor Northam, through an unlegislated order, is prohibiting the gather of more than 10 citizens at a single time. And whereas this order is clearly a violation of the Constitution of Virginia, Article 1, Sections 1 and 12, therefore, the Nottaway County Board of Supervisors will not recognize the governor's decree pursuant the Constitution of Virginia, Article 1, Section 2, which states that all power is vested in and consequently derived from the people that, and the magistrates are the trustees and servants, and at all times are amendable to them. And therefore, Nottaway County Board of Supervisors orders its sheriff to arrest any state police officer, state health agent, or federal agent attempting to enforce unconstitutional order by the governor. Failure to do so will result in an immediate removal of county funding. And therefore, the Nottaway County Board of Supervisors orders its Commonwealth's attorney to not prosecute the unconstitutional mandates prohibiting the people's right to peacefully assemble. Failure to do so will result in immediate removal of county funding. Therefore, the Nottaway County Board of Supervisors orders that no building, property, personnel, equipment, or any resources are to be used to promote or enforce any element of the unconstitutional orders of the governor. Be it resolved that the Nottaway County Board of Supervisors will not allow the citizens of Nottaway County to be subject to the unconstitutional tyranny of the governor, and will fund the legal defense of its officers, sheriffs, Commonwealth attorney to uphold the solemn oath to the Constitution of Virginia.
Mr. Robinson?
Be it resolved that any and all state or federal legislation, executive orders, and court rulings that curtail, abridge, deny, or regulate Article 1, Section 12 of the Virginia Constitution and the First Amendment of the United States Constitution are null and void
Mr.
and of
Robson.
no effect, and that the above measures will be applied to any and all violations hereafter by the Nottaway County Board of Supervisors. Continue.
Thank you. You have presented to us, we're going to take it under advisement.
But I asked the question at the beginning, what does the Bill of Rights mean to y'all?
And that's what we're going to do at this particular time.
So you're gonna answer me?
Thank you.
So what does it mean to you? No, what does it mean to you? Bill of Rights. What does the right to peacefully assemble mean to you? This is not against the mask mandate. How can 100+ people gather at Walmart? I was in Williamsburg and there were 75 people in the ice rink skating outside. How can they do that, but we can't gather 11 people on a courthouse green or in a park or anything? How can that
Mr. Robson, your
go
time
through?
is up.
Oh, my time
Thank
is
you
up.
very much.
So I never got my answer from any of y'all on your beliefs on the Constitution, the Bill of Rights, or anything.
No, well, I'm telling you, I'm not ordering the sheriff to do anything.
Mr.
He's, I elected him. I'm not ordering the sheriff to do anything.
Sit back, sit back.
Mr. Robson, thank you very much. That's it.
Thank you for your transparency.
Mr. Chairman, if I may, I can give him a quick answer.
Okay, you're right.
The Bill of Rights clearly to me is your God-given rights as a citizen for the United States. The citizens have courts to appeal to. If the sheriff gets a warrant, I expect him to make an arrest. That's his job. This is a pandemic. This is not a constitutional issue. This is a political issue. And in our rules of procedure, we are not to engage in conversations of political matter. And this, to me, clearly has become a political matter.
How is this a political matter? Tell me. When I'm saying everybody, regardless of which way they stand, can gather and exercise their right. That's not a political issue. That's a human right.
Mr. Robinson,
Mr. Robinson,
it appears it's attacking the governor only.
We have other people here. Will you please take your seat? We are going to take it under advisement. Thank you very much.
Supporting your oath.
Okay. We're going to leave the presentations and move to the public hearing. The first public hearing is on the cell tower. Do we have anyone here to speak for the cell tower?
Good evening, Chairman and members of the Board of Supervisors. My name for the record is Lisa Murphy. I'm zoning counsel for the applicant Tillman Infrastructure. We're here tonight seeking a special exception for a 255-foot self-support lattice tower with a 10-foot lightning rod. As one of your speakers mentioned broadband, interestingly, when I started doing this over 20 years ago, wireless service was a nice to have. You know, you needed it if you traveled for your job, if you were a realtor, if you had to be on the road away from a landline phone. And that's borne out in the statistics. In December of 2007, just under 16% of people were wireless only in their home. So again, it was a nice to have. By June 2019, it was 59.2% of all adults were wireless only. And then households with children, that number was 70.5. So people now are just not getting landline phones. Their wireless phone is their internet connection. It's their connection with their family. Many people who are quarantined, it's FaceTime, it's Zoom. It's the way we're able to stay in touch. During the current pandemic, demand has further increased as a result, again, of stay-at-home orders that have forced schools to educate online and workers to work from home. The lack of availability of robust wireless services and high-speed internet has increased the focus on the growing digital divide, sort of the have and have-nots. In this particular application, we've got a 52-acre parcel zoned A1, owned by Shirley Daniel. The tower itself will be set back 325 feet from McCune Road, 490 feet from the property to the south, 350 feet to the property to the north, It'll be located in a 100 by 100 foot lease area with a landscaped compound. The issue that came up at planning, and will, excuse me, I'm sorry, I have a tickle in my throat, and will likely come up tonight, is the fact that there is an existing tower across the street. Section 4-13-9 of your zoning ordinance that deals with availability of suitable existing towers or other structures indicates that existing towers or structures can be overlooked or can not be used for co-location if they're not sufficient height to meet the applicant's engineering requirements. I would direct you to Exhibit E in your application packet is a letter from a radio frequency engineer from AT&T indicating that AT&T antennas and radios must be installed at a minimum height of 257 feet on the proposed tower. And what does that do? That enables them to achieve network objectives and optimal coverage, including coverage to first responders and AT&T customers. The next category, or the next item that the applicant has to demonstrate is number 5. The fees, costs, or contractual provisions required by the owner in order to share or adapt the existing tower or structure are unreasonable. In this case, I'd direct you to Exhibit J in your packet, which is a sworn statement of Tim Brenner in support of the tower, and Tim is the Director of Network Planning for AT&T Wireless, and he indicates in here, and I'll just point out the highlights, that the current rent charged by SBA to co-locate on the SBA tower is over 2 times what Tillman will charge AT&T to co-locate on the Tillman tower. It is not cost-effective and it's economically burdensome. He goes on to state, at the current rent increases over the next 20 years, the difference in rent paid for the SBA tower versus AT&T is well over $1 million. So clearly we have evidence that the existing structure, the rent rates that AT&T is currently paying are astronomical and overly burdensome. In terms of the economic impact, it's not cost effective for AT&T to remain on the existing tower. In addition, AT&T, who's obligated to build out FirstNet, which is the country's nationwide integrated data network for emergency services providers, is constantly needing to upgrade its equipment and wireless facilities on towers. In this case, SBA, this request for additional capacity triggers a structural analysis, administrative fees, and additional costs that are burdensome. At the Planning Commission hearing, Mr. Donahue indicated that, why doesn't AT&T just ask SBA to extend the tower? Well, that's not the application that you have before you. What we have is a request for a tower that's 255 feet that AT&T has indicated, and in pretty clear terms, would be better for them from the standpoint of providing their coverage and service. And then you've got a sworn affidavit where they indicate that the terms that they have on the current tower are unreasonable. The Planning Commission voted unanimously to recommend approval. The other thing that I would point out is under state law, an application for a tower can't be disapproved or denied on the basis of the applicant's business decision with respect to its designed service, quality service from a particular site, the applicant's specific need for a site, or the technology selected by the applicant. Further, the locality can't force co-location where the available tower nearby within the search ring is not available for co-location on terms that are reasonable or conditions that are reasonable without imposing technological limitations. So again, it's interesting to me in doing this a long time. This tower has no opposition from what I understand from the community, from the residents. There were none at the Planning Commission hearing. The only opposition is from the competitor across the street. And in most other zoning issues, you question whether the competitor has standing to object, and also they have no vested right in a monopoly. You're not obligated to allow them to be the only tower in this location. I'm happy to answer any questions that you have, and I respectfully request that you approve the tower.
Do we have anyone else to speak for?
Mr. Chairman, I'm speaking in opposition. Did you?
Well, I'm not there yet.
Okay.
Okay. Anyone to speak for? Anyone else? Okay. Anyone to speak against?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. I think the mask has interfered with my hearing as well as my speaking. My name is Ed Donahue. I represent SBA, owners of the existing tower. I don't know if you've seen the aerial photograph, but this was one that was prepared for Planning Commission. The SBA tower is on the east side of McCune Road. The proposed tower is on the west side, approximately 800 feet apart. A couple things that I wanted to call to your attention. I won't belabor the point because I laid it out in a letter for you, and I hope you had an opportunity to look at it. A couple things you need to know about the proposed tower. Inasmuch as it's above 200 feet, it will be lit. So you have a lighting per the federal government. So that tower will be not only more visible, given that it's out of the trees and in an open field, it's going to be a lighted structure day and night. It is a redundant tower. You very likely will have twin towers in this location because there are other spaces available on the SBA tower. There's another tenant on the SBA tower. So that tower is going to be here for the foreseeable future. You need to know that this is Tillman's business plan. Their idea here is to try to twin up where they see a tower and try to take tenants from one to the other. I understand the business proposal. What I'm here to suggest to you is there's a couple things that ought to be considered. One, the tower that's existing, now owned by SBA, was built to the designs of AT&T. In 1995, when this county approved it, that was AT&T's network engineers, and they proposed 195 feet. There's been no real suggestion of a problem with that height, or interference, or deficiencies in network coverage. The suggestion now that 255 feet is the minimum is the first we've heard of this. As recently as 2018, AT&T and SBA modified the lease for the SBA tower. So 2 years ago, or 2+ years ago, it was a workable solution. Secondly, Mr. Chairman, I gave you a letter prepared by SBA to indicate that both structurally and from a business standpoint, the SBA tower could be increased in height in order to accommodate AT&T. It may require a trip back to Planning Commission and back to this board, but that's fine. SBA said they're willing to do that. The ground elevation is slightly greater at our location, 10 feet, so it'll be a little bit less of an ask, but it certainly could be done. As I said, structurally, it could certainly be done. Mr. Bowen, you were there for Planning Commission the other night, and we discussed 15.2, 2232, the determination of consistency with the comprehensive plan. The commission went ahead and approved the comprehensive plan determination without the applicant having requested it. In fact, the applicant said it wasn't needed because it was a by right structure. So when the Planning Commission proceeded with that, it looked at its comprehensive plan and on its own said it's consistent with our comprehensive plan. I would submit to you that's error. It's not before the board tonight, but I don't think the Planning Commission had it right, given that they had no support from the applicant. In fact, they had the opposite. Finally, Mr. Chairman, a word about co-location. Ms. Murphy mentions co-location. We certainly support that. My client is a tower owner. Co-location is what drives revenues. We'd like to keep the co-location on the existing tower. We'd like to remove the need for twin towers on McCune Road, and we'd like to support both state law and county policies to encourage co-location. That's all I have, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Anyone else to speak against? Board members, nice.
You close it.
Go ahead, Mr. Bowen.
You close it.
But that, on that, yes, on the cell tower, yes.
Okay. Mr. Procise, you all right if I proceed with?
Please.
Okay, I know you usually.
Yes, please.
Take, okay. So, Mr. Donahue made a good point, and I'll make sure I got your name right. It's Ms. Murphy. As I said, okay, I'm sorry. So, Mr. Chairman, I want to rectify something Ms. Murphy said. I got a call. I'm going to clarify something first. The Chairman, Ben Perry, when he asked for a vote, he says, all in favor, raise your right hand. All opposed, raise your right hand. one planning commission called me today and said, Steve, I abstained, but I didn't know what to do because, but I have a conflict. So Mr. Process asked me to get him to send an email to him stating that. So I want to clarify that it was not unanimous, okay? It seemed, though, Ms. Murky at the time, I agree with you. So here's the motion that was put on the floor, okay? I make a motion to send it to the board to see what they think, okay? Katie, am I right? Okay, you were taking the minutes? Because it was, and I knew then, I said, there's some, but there was some apprehension there, something, it wasn't I call this thing off, you know, there's a weak vote and there's a strong vote. That was weak. And so I called the chairman, Ben Perry, today, and I said, Mr. Chairman, I said, and by the way, Mr. Perry does a wonderful job. You know, his planning commission, we're blessed to have him in the county, and he knows how to lead that planning commission, and he was reelected, by the way. So, so I had the conversation with him, and he felt the same thing. And I said, so what's missing? And it kind of used Ms. Murky's own example. She said, so make sure we understand. These are the people who build the tower, okay? So she said, and this is the example she gave. She said, just because you get a gas station on the corner doesn't mean I can't put one on the other corner. And I agree with that. What's missing is the gas attendant. Who gonna run it? AT&T. So they wanted to hear from AT&T, but didn't, you know, well, it wasn't there. There was not a clear understanding, I believe. And then Ms. Donahue made a good point. On the comprehensive plan, we should be following that comprehensive plan. So my recommendation is to table it, have a work session, Mr. Bond, and get AT&T there, and let's hear what they got to say. Because what we're concerned about, what we all should be concerned about, one tower, and then next thing you know, we got one less than 0.2 of a mile. And I said that. Once you start setting precedents, every time competition ends, instead of we looking at one tower out in the agricultural district, you might be seeing 2, 3. So when does it stop? However, the Planning Commission does not want to hinder broadband. So that's why the AT&T part is very important to them, because they know these children at home, they live out in the country, and they can't get the education, and it's a delay there. So they understand that part. And so they really want us, Ben Perry's conversation with me, I think we need to do some more homework. And I say we, us, you know. However, but they didn't really say, I recommend to approve. They said, I recommend to send it on up to and see what they think. So I just want to clarify that.
Now, we have two choices. We can table it, or we can remand it back to the Planning Commission and let them do more
The
homework.
AT&T have the conversation.
John, let them bring AT&T in.
Do we have that?
I will do whatever you all instruct.
That would be no cost to the people who put in the special exception.
As far as bringing AT&T, we can try to find the right person to make a presentation to the Planning Commission at the next Planning Commission meeting.
Let me say this, both sides have made good points, I'm not arguing that, but we want to do the right thing for Nottaway County. So.
Well, what do you think about remanding it back to the Planning Commission?
I'm okay with that if you guys are.
I'm okay with that.
You too? Okay, let's have a motion to do that.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded that we remand the cell tower request back to the Planning Commission. Those in favor, let it be known by the usual sign. Those opposed, the ayes have it. It will go back to Steve, let them know it will be coming back.
I'll call him tomorrow.
Okay, the next public hearing will be on the Courthouse Estates Division. Do we have anyone to speak for this request? Mr. Carlo, do you want to?
He can't hear. He had a hard time hearing the other night. He might not hear you.
Okay. Is there anyone to speak for it?
Did you want to speak for?
He said no.
He doesn't want to speak?
No, he doesn't want to speak
He said
for
no.
Okay. Anyone to speak against? Helen, will you read this letter from Mr. and Mrs. Joseph Monahan. Thank you.
Dear Mr. Procise, we are writing regarding the request made by Frank Carlo to build Courthouse Road estates on his property on Courthouse Road, which is directly across the road from our house. We want the Nottaway County Planning Commission to know that we are against this development, although it doesn't involve rezoning as it did in 2017. Our house and small farm has been in the Monahan family since 1914. It has been a home for 3 generations of Monahans. It is our hope to pass it to our son, a 4th generation of the Monahan family. We know that the rural neighborhood feel will be positively ruined by this development. It does not benefit the citizens and homeowners around the development. The environmental impact on the neighborhood has to be considered. While we understand that the health department will see to it that the properties will support both individual septic tanks and wells, however, our concern is regarding the wells. Will that number of wells affect the wells that are already here? Although we live in the county, there would be extreme noise pollution with the amount of work involved in the building of the houses on the property. Afterwards, there would be no noise pollution from the houses. We are in the country where we can hear the birds sing. We would like to ask the Planning Commission to consider these 3 important points when they make their recommendation regarding this property. Number 1, it will ruin the rural neighborhood feel. Number 2, it will contribute to noise pollution as well as actual pollution. Number 3, it will contribute to traffic congestion. We look forward to a favorable decision by not allowing this to take place. This is in order to maintain the integrity of the rural neighborhood. Respectfully, Mr. and Mrs. Joseph P. Monahan.
Thank you. Okay. We had no one to speak for. Do we have anyone to speak against other than this letter? What did the Planning Commission say about this?
Mr. Chairman, you closing the public hearing? Closing the public hearing?
Yes, I believe.
Mr. Procise, I'd like to get some clarification. Was that person at the Planning Commission?
They did, and they spoke at the Planning Commission.
Okay, that's the lady, okay.
The couple that were there.
Right. Looks like that was a little stronger than the one we got to do. Okay, gotcha.
That's not unusual when people write as opposed to
I understand, they write stronger. It's easier to type hatred than it is to say it. Okay. Not that was hatred, that she was just against it. I get that. So I want to clarify that. The Planning Commission had no exceptions to it. Scholars came in, answered all the questions. There were some people that had some people there that had some questions. I'm not asking you the question, Ms. Carter, I'm just explaining. There's some people there that had some questions, like was it close to the pond that I live? Was it here? And when he answered those questions, it relieved their anxiety, I would say. So, that's really the only opposition I think we had.
Mr. Chairman, we have shown this preliminary plat to the Health Department, VDOT, and our own soil and erosion control technician, and all have approved the preliminary plat as it's drawn. As long as the final plat has no substantial changes in it, they are on board to sign it if that's what you all want to approve.
Okay. What is the board's pleasure?
I'm okay with it.
All right. I'll make a motion, we approve this request.
Okay.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded that we would approve the request for the Courthouse Estates subdivision. Those in favor, let it be known by the usual sign.
Aye.
Those opposed? Mr. Carlo, you have your request. The last public hearing is on the sale of land. This is Piedmont Park, SAR Development Corporation. Mr. Procise, will you give us?
Yes, sir. This is a public hearing. for the proposed, to receive citizens' comments on the sale of 17.28 plus or minus acres of land fronting on Virginia State Route 723 at Highway 460 in Burkeville. This is a Piedmont property that was sold to the county from the Commonwealth of Virginia quite a few years ago.
Anyone to speak for?
I'd like to ask a question about that property.
Will you come to the podium and
Come to the podium, he said.
So I'm not familiar with it, but I have been involved in some talk about Piedmont land. Is this the same land that served as I guess, some type of a medical sanatorium for the black population back in the early days?
This is part of a farm.
But it
The
doesn't- okay.
Piedmont Geriatric Hospital was a sanatorium back in the old days. And this particular property was part of that campus. And they actually raised agricultural products for the benefit of the patients there.
Okay, yeah, that's what I was asking. So
Yeah.
I'm just wondering, because we've been researching that property lately because of its history and trying to preserve it, so.
anyone to speak against?
Mr. Chairman, just one question.
Wait a minute, sir.
You got one.
Were you coming to the podium?
Yes.
Come on.
No, that's okay. No problem. I think everybody knows me. I'm John Shute. I own my family's farm that is less than a half a mile away from this piece of property. Mr. Chairman, I want to make sure that you understand I'm not speaking against it. I'm speaking to give more clarification before I can make my mind up one way or another. I understand from reading in the paper that the property was proposing to be sold to a developer with the possibility, I believe, that maybe it was some type of distribution center that may be put there. I don't think there's enough clarification for us as taxpayers and residents to really understand what the purpose of the sale is. My first question, I guess, would be, is the county going to have any tax benefit from it other than putting the land back into the taxes? Because certainly if someone's willing to pay, I believe it was $22,000 or something an acre for it, it must be valuable property. And secondly, when I think about distribution center, I think about transfer trucks. What's it already going to do to that 723 intersection that is already one of the worst intersections in the county, and to have to deal with more transfer trucks? And I know that VDOT has a plan to make improvements, but I was there in the meetings with them when they proposed their improvements, and the gentleman from the state said it's not going to reduce the number of accidents in the intersection. It's going to decrease the severity of them. So I have concerns about that. And again, what is going to be the impact in the community of Burkeville, where everybody lives? Is this distribution center going to bring jobs? If it brings jobs, are they going to be well-paying jobs, or are they going to be minimum wage stuff? Because we certainly don't need that kind of development. So I'm not against it. I'm certainly not for it yet because I don't know. But those are my comments, and so I'd like to have more information. I don't think we have enough. Is there any restrictions to this developer as really to what they put there once you do sell it? And do they have to do something within a time frame? Because certainly you have, I think there was some property sold out on the eastern portion of the county that is still yet to be developed. So I think there needs to be more conversation back to us as residents up there, because I certainly don't know that my family's farm out there, I have three families of my own living out there. I don't live there now, but
I've got, my daughter lives out there, my sister lives out there, my nephews live out there, my grandchildren live out there, and my great-grandchildren live out there. So I want to make sure that we don't make something that's going to be worse than what all that there already is. I thank you. And one comment, I know we live in difficult times. We're in a very divided country. But everyone, I've stood here many times and I've gone toe-to-toe with almost everybody on the board at one time or another. Just because we don't agree, let's please have patience with each other. Thank y'all.
Great words.
Okay, Mr. Abbott.
Sir, I just had one question. Did the Virginia Department of Transportation have any input, just to add to what the chief said about 723 and its, how it would function if the alleged distribution center is there, so it would have access either to 723, 460, or 360 because of the reputation of that area anyway?
This property has access from 360 as well as 460.
I understand.
And then there is a road where the dumpster site used to be. There's a road in between there, 723, go across the street. So they could come out, transportation-wise, they could come out each one of those.
So my question
I understand Mr. Schute's problem because Mr. Schute and I have worked on different committees about 723, so I'm very familiar with what he's talking about.
Mr. Chairman, just for clarification, this might help Mr. Abbott, and I don't want to speak out of turn from closed discussion. So if I get on any line, please stop me. As I understood it, VDOT said until something's there, they're not going to make the improvements. Is my recollection correct?
That's correct. It's a chicken and the egg. You have to have something there for them to make it, and the reverse is true.
Right.
The company that is proposing to purchase this piece of property has done their due diligence, has done the investigation, and obviously they feel they're satisfied with what has to happen in order to develop the full property. The tenant that they're talking about, the distribution center, is just one of hopefully many other tenants that they will be able to find for the property. They do have one already lined up.
Can we be safe to say that, am I safe to say that the expectations of Walmart distribution center is not what you're going to see down there?
No, this is a fairly small operation distribution center. But the property has been in county hands for quite a long time. We've actually sent this property to a professional broker to try to sell it for us. They've had absolutely even though this property is probably one of the best properties in the entire county, we've had virtually no interest in the property. It's sat on our rolls, not paying any taxes whatsoever. And the thinking behind it is that once, in most economic development situations, the first business that goes in makes it easier for the second business to go in.
Correct, because there's, Mr. Shute, there's currently no water and sewer there. So that was another.
That's right, and the tenant and the potential purchaser knows all of that.
Correct.
But, let's see, I don't think we've gotten into, maybe we have, but I don't think we got Mr. Abbott's question yet. If we do sell it and the developer starts developing, he or she has to go through VDOT to get permits.
Absolutely.
Right.
And as far as the uses are concerned, they're all just like any other property. They're governed by what the zoning ordinance allows.
Right.
If any use is proposed for that particular property that's not in the zoning ordinance, the board has the option to amend it or not amend it for that use.
Correct.
Okay. Anyone else to speak?
Can I ask one question? I hate to ask questions, but Mr. Street raised a great point. We've got a large tract of land just outside of Blackstone that was sold 3 years ago for about, I think it was $310,000 for Nottaway Commons. Why is this land so much more expensive here near Berkeley? And secondly, is there a timetable where the purchaser has to show improvements? Or could it just sit there and sit there and sit there?
Like it.
Well, as far, I think we've gone into this in prior conversations. The price, the difference between the two areas is that this particular property is nearly completely developable as opposed to Nottaway Commons. Nottaway Commons, you have attractive land on Route 40 and Military Road, but you have a large section of property that is virtually undevelopable, at least in the early stages. And because of that, if we had stripped out the land on Route 40 and Military Road, we'd been stuck with landlocked property in the back that would have been extremely difficult to sell. Whereas Piedmont Park has excellent access. It also has anywhere from 12 to 13,000 vehicles a day on each road, high visibility, and it has the potential to be developed, we hope, in a fairly short period of time now that somebody owns it who has every incentive in the world to develop it.
Is there a timetable on the purchase?
No, as far as the development is concerned,
If the sale goes through tomorrow, can the developer potentially just have it for investment purposes and not break ground on it?
we could not have made the deal if there had been any prohibitions against any timelines. They have in hand, and the reason that they looked at the property to begin with is because they had a tenant who wanted to be in that area with those two major highway transportation corridors.
Okay. All right. I'm going to close the public hearing on the sale of the land. What's your pleasure, Lord?
Well, I guess that's my district, so I guess, that's Helen, is it? I'm trying to find, where does it divide right there?
That's
Okay.
yours,
So, yeah, I don't even know, so anyway.
I think.
Guys, I've been on this board, with 13 years, and I've been working at Piedmont for 35 years, and I'm tired of looking at a cabbage patch. And I'm just, and I hear Mr. Shute, and I understand, but it's nothing but been DOC cabbage patch. And I had great expectations when I got on this board that we were going to get that developed. We had somebody came in and it was close, and then the economy went poosh, and it just went down, And I hear the comments, and we're taking a chance. I'm not going to argue that. We went in closed session. We had some strong discussions, and we're taking a chance. And I'm willing to take that chance.
Will you put that
It either makes me or breaks me. I'll put that in a motion.
Okay.
I'll second it.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded that we sell this public land. Those in favor, let it be known by the usual sign.
Aye.
Those opposed? The ayes have it. Okay. Department reports, Mr. Process.
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman. The Highway Department report is in your package. There are no questions. The school board, I didn't have any information to put in your package. We hadn't received any by the time we sent your packages out. I will tell you that since then, Dr. Grimes has asked to have a joint meeting of the Board of Supervisors and the school board sometimes in February and March.
Could we do March for that meeting?
Okay.
The weather would be a lot better at that time. Is that okay with you all? A joint meeting?
That's right.
Okay. John?
Yes, sir.
Lynn?
Yes.
All right. Will you set up a date in March?
Yes, sir. We'll do that, and we'll try to confer with everyone to see a good date for everyone.
So it's the whole board, it's not just two?
No, it's the whole board.
Okay.
It's a joint meeting. Health Department, our Health Department, I called this morning, they're doing some 1B tier vaccinations now. They're asking people to call their office where they'll be put on a list. Persons will then be contacted off of that list to be vaccinated. Ms. Jackson and her staff have been extremely busy, as you can imagine. We need to offer all of them double prayers for strength. They're having a hard job to do over there. Yeah, I'll get it to you.
Yeah, John, on Tuesday I spoke with them. They had over 300 phone calls on
Right.
Tuesday alone.
I talked to Ms. Jackson this morning, and you could hear in her voice, you could hear how hard she's been working, and they're tired over there, but they're doing a good job. If there are no questions, Economic Development Committee, we are going to meet next Thursday night, a week from tonight, in here, the General District Courtroom. We don't have a great deal of pressing business, but we do need to go over a few things.
They normally have an organizational meeting and choose the chairman.
The officers will be chosen, yes, sir, for the calendar year. The Regional Jail Juvenile Detention Center, you have in your package the monthly jurisdictional report for the fourth quarter. That's in your package. The transportation report is in your package for December. And you have the January 2021 agenda, which the meeting was held yesterday. And Mr. Rourke is a representative, and Mr. Vaughn and I also participated virtually. It was a virtual meeting. The landfill, you have in your package the monthly and the annual report. Just to give you a few figures, the monthly report for December 2020 was 52.66 tons per day. And over the entire year of 2020, it averaged 58.54 tons per day. The leachate report is also in your package. And one of the things I wanted to mention to you all about the leachate pond issues tonight, so you can be thinking about it. 2020 was one of the wettest years that we've had on record here. And it has been a constant struggle for Mr. Easter and his staff to keep the leachate levels down to acceptable levels. At some point, if we want to make sure that we don't have another year like this, we may want to think about doing some modifications to the leachate pond itself, raising the berm, or possibly purchasing a leachate truck. Right now, Edmonds in McKinney is doing our leachate hauling. And they also haul leachate for many other localities, so it's not always easy to get the number of trucks that we need. Mr. Easter has said that if we had a leachate truck, we have staff on hand without hiring anyone, where we could help keep that leachate level down in the leachate pond. That's something for you all to think about.
Will you look into that?
Yes, sir. We're gonna, when it comes budget time, we've already gathered figures about how we can work that out. We don't want to bring it up now because it's really going to be probably a budget issue. But I want y'all to at least be thinking about it now, because we're going to haven't started anything on the budget yet, but it won't be too awfully long. Fort Pickett LRA, we have advertised for water damage and roof repair on building 2361. We have gotten insurance settlement on that damage, but I would prefer not to tell you what the insurance is until we get the bids in. We don't want the insurance number to affect what people might do the work for. So that has been advertised, and those bids will be in before we meet next time. Mr. Hill has mentioned that he is a little bit concerned if we do have a big snow, how we'll get snow removal done out at Pickett Park. That's another thing to think about, whether or not we want to try to contract that out, or whether we want to maybe get some better equipment to try to move the snow. Planning Commission, as Mr. Bowen told you about the two special exception hearings, Ben Perry was re-elected chairman for 2021. And Mr. Kirby Woolfolk was elected vice chairman for 2021. I will carry back to them what you all have instructed tonight, and we'll try to get the appropriate person from AT&T to come and make a presentation. And if there are no questions on any of that, Mr. Chairman, in unfinished business, you have the Registrar's request, which is held over from the December meeting. Ms. Stewart is here to speak about that, and her handout was distributed to you before the meeting started.
Ms. Stewart, will you come forward, please?
She left.
Mr. Chairman, that, I may have caused that. I was going over there to clarify something, and I apologize to you, Mr. Chairman, and to Ms. Stewart. So what I was trying to clarify, because I wanted us to try to get a vote out, this was sitting in front of me when I got here, and I guess this is the Virginia Code 24.2112, and it says the electoral board of each county and city shall determine the number of assistant registrars to serve in the office of general registrar, including any to serve full time. But her letter, this is what I was trying to clarify, and maybe I may have to get help from the Commonwealth Attorney back. I know you. I'm sorry, but first of all, we don't need to get into the election because that's a separate entity on purpose, so we can't manipulate anything. Does the registrars, does the county register, does she work for the Department of Elections, which is a state? That's my understanding. She gets paid full state, right, Katie? Is that? Yeah, so, because the code that she showed me is the electoral board doesn't have anything to do with her employment. It's
my understanding, she reports directly to the electoral board.
That's right.
And then this Virginia code says the electoral board of each county and city shall determine the number of assistant registrars to serve in the office of the general registrar, including any to serve full time. So I feel like the personnel request should go back to the electoral board. And then once they approve it, if they approve it, then the request for the funds or the reallocation of funds would come back here to the board for approval. But I think it's premature. I mean, I think we certainly would not want to approve a personnel request because that's not our position. But I think it would be premature to even approve an allocation of or reallocation of funds before the electoral board approved the position.
Mr. Chairman, if I may make...
Mr. Abbott is here.
Ms.
Have you
Allen
all
is here
done
too.
that?
I happen to be in the room, yes. I'm not the only one.
Ms. Allen is also here.
Ms. Allen is
Right.
vice chair of the electoral board.
so, okay, I missed.
And if you want me to clarify that, I cannot.
Okay.
All right,
Ms. Allen,
Mr. Chair, I got maybe something that we may can do here then. Simply put, I believe the electoral board is going to be meeting in February. Is that correct?
There has been no meeting called yet.
Okay. Can we at least at this time table this matter until the electoral board has their meeting and gets back with us?
I mean, we can't. But what I'm getting at, normally we don't get into who she hires. That's what
Oh yeah, and I concur on that. I mean, I'm ready to make a motion to deny this and move on, but I'm just trying to be cordial here.
I hate that she left before we had a chance to do it, but John, what we'll do is just table it until after.
Chairman, are we trying to determine who she works for or who she can hire?
That's about. He's making an excellent point.
Yeah.
So I guess me and John Rourke maybe not agree on this. I'm willing to, put a motion on the floor to say, but I just want to make sure I'm clear that as far as funding goes, it's theirs. It's her funding. We're not.
That's $24,000.
So why are we getting into the who, hire, what? We'll just say we appropriate the money for funding for that full-time position. What is wrong with that? And then
Ms. Allen.
I'm just gonna tell you this.
Okay.
I have the electoral board book right here.
Okay.
I can pull it up right here. She can hire who she wants as the assistant registrar. That's not the question. The question is the way that she went about it. You have to follow policy that we did not create, that we have to follow, and it has to go before the electoral board.
Okay.
It has not gone toward the electoral board. She serves at the pleasure of the electoral board and not the other way around.
So going to John's point, what you're saying is that the funding, is no use appropriating the funding until it goes through the certain cycle.
we're not gonna get into it. We're going to table
There you
this
go.
until after the electoral board meets, and then
Bring it
have
back.
Mr. Stewart come and explain what the action you all took on the electoral board.
Yeah, so Mr. Chairman, just to clarify, this request has been presented to us with the evidence from the electoral board and this here. I would say if we had to make a decision, that I would say no. But the option to table is there, and I think that's more appropriate. And that's what you
Well,
said you want to do.
Let me take full responsibility.
We are going to table this.
Yes, sir.
Let me take full responsibility. She would have been here, one for me. I should have, I can't believe I'm saying this. I should have kept my mouth
We're
shut.
going to table this until after the electoral board meets.
And reach out to us. I agree.
Okay, let's move on.
Ready to go, Mr. Chairman? You all had some information at the last meeting about Nottaway Lanes and David Carmichael. And Katie Tomer has got information for you. She's spoken with Mr. Carmichael, and she's going to let you know what he has said to her.
Okay, Mrs. Tomer, could you?
So he chooses to continue operating the bowling alley, should the board choose to continue with that also. But he wants to maintain the current terms of his lease. If that is acceptable to you guys, the same terms, and at a minimum of a 2-year renewal, he would like to continue.
Okay. Do you have a copy of the extension of the lease?
They're the last 2 amendments.
Okay.
that we have. John has over there a couple of different copies of documents where the leases have been changed over the years, where it started at one amount, was changed to another one. The end result is what you have in front of you.
Okay.
That is the final lease agreement.
What is the pleasure of the board? To extend the lease or not?
I hesitate to extend it for that period of time. If I understand his circumstances have been difficult, but the building's not generating any revenue. We're not receiving lease payments because it's not in operation. And he indicated in his email his willingness to continue, but he didn't provide any details to us about how his plans to do so. I think we also need additional clarification. He mentioned in his email something about leaving the equipment in there for a transition, or he could arrange that. But it's my understanding from the county that the county owns the equipment in the building. I think we need some additional clarification. And personally, I'm not in favor of a 2-year extension and the potential for that building to sit empty for another 2 years and just continue to depreciate. I think we need to get, Mr. Carmichael needs to give us his specific plans for resuming business and how he thinks he can do that.
The only thing he did tell me this evening is that I was asking, obviously we acknowledge the fact that there has been no operation of the facility since the crash into the building and because of it. And he said that about 6 months ago, he was going to consider, was trying to gather a plan to open it towards the end of the year, but his help that he has staff before didn't choose for it. He said he does have a plan now, he has staff available, if he can reopen the facility.
Well,
I would like to see details about that plan.
Absolutely. I was going to say, I concur with you, Ms. Shelkerton, on that, because I like to see a date open because his other facility in Farmville is open. So, and then again, I go back to what you three had said previously, you know, I think the more appropriate thing to do is put the thing on the market and get out of the business of owning that property. That's just my thought.
If we consider doing that, I think it becomes even more important that we understand who owns the equipment.
Yeah, I think what's changed, you know, we got a different board, and well, man, I thought we owned the equipment. I thought that was part of the bowling alley. So I'm not exactly sure how that.
That's right.
Say it again.
When we built the bowling alley, the county owned everything.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Okay.
Are y'all talking about like the video games and everything?
He mentions in his email, he references, I would need enough time to remove all of the equipment owned by my company unless the county wants to arrange a scenario that leaves the existing equipment in order to bridge desired transition. So we definitely need to clarify that.
Things such as like the jukebox that he had in there, I think the change the key, things like that, he has contributed to the facility himself. So I don't know if that's what he means, but I'm sure that's part of what he means.
Yeah.
Yeah, I probably think we'd want to.
The basic bowling center equipment, though, is the county's.
It is.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, as I understand it, somebody should be able to at least say, walk in there and operate, the way the equipment is set up now, so. But I do share your concerns, Ms. Shelkerton. I would like to see the plan, when it's gonna open, or either just, advertise it for sale.
Ed, what's your thought? I'm sorry, Mr. Chairman, I was just trying to.
Well, we talked to him before. It was you and I that talked to him.
Right.
And he's very, he doesn't say what he really means. It's hard for you to pull, I mean,
Yeah, no, right.
it really is. It's hard for you to pull a conversation out of him and ask him anything, to get a straight answer out of him.
We can help him with that.
Because I had to just say, look, tell us what are you gonna do? What do you wanna do? So, and I feel that that's the same way now. He's kind of dragging his feet on it.
So you want a written plan from him?
Yes, as to what he plans on
For you to
doing.
review for the next meeting. Is that correct?
Well, and I would also ask the other board members, because I'm like Ms. Shelkerton, given the past history with this, even before COVID and stuff like that, when the other ones are operating, I don't like the idea of a 2-year lease. And then Ms. Simmons, your concerns there actually concern me even more, make me concerned
Well,
even
maybe
more.
give him like 6 months.
6 months, a year.
See what he could do in 6 months instead of 2 years.
Right.
He did say he would not choose to do that.
No, okay.
Yeah, I mean, how do you, come on, guys, how do you hire somebody? You say, come on, I want you to work for me for 6 months. He's trying to get management in now. You see what I'm saying? I think you're gonna have to, you're gonna have to give him a little leeway. I mean, it's sitting there.
Yes, sitting there with
Right,
no
and some of that's
income
not his fault.
whatsoever.
It is not his fault that a woman went out there and drove through the side of it.
It's not at all.
And then the pandemic is not his fault.
That was the husband's fault. I don't know what the situation.
Well, and I mean, and I follow you, Mr. Bowen, but still, I think a lot of these businesses are leased out for like a year's lease. So, I mean,
right.
If somebody's not working and can come in and work for him, then they don't have a job anyway. Or he might be plucking them from another location. But I think some sort of a structured plan.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Well, Katie, you said he wouldn't go with 6
for 1
months.
year.
He'll only go with 2 years. Is that what you're saying?
Correct. If you're willing to amend, renew, whatever his lease term should be, at a minimum of 2 years is what he's willing to consider.
A minimum of 2 years.
Do we know?
That would give the pandemic time.
To clear out.
And people can go bowling.
That's right.
Do we know if before the accident, before the pandemic, were the lease payments regular and consistent and on time?
I don't handle those, I cannot answer that. We can certainly get the information from you.
I want to.
Yes, can we do that?
you.
Can we put this on the unfinished business for next month and get that report?
The current, his lease that you all extended last month expires the end of this month, so you need to decide.
I'd be okay extending it till to the end of the following month.
Extend it for a couple of months probably, until we can figure out what he's doing.
Want to extend it for a couple of months?
Couple of months until we figure out what he's doing. And then that way it'll give him time to send us the information that we want.
And get your report too.
You're gonna need to have time to review the information and make a decision too.
Right, so a couple of
So
months.
what are you saying,
90
2
days?
months?
60, 90
Yeah,
days.
I don't know. I mean, you guys choose that. I'm
Steve,
willing to go ahead and get him back in business and do the 2 years. I'll be honest with you. I mean, this guy came in and he did a fine job. He does a fine job in Farmville. I get we had a communication gap. I understand that, but as a businessman, he done very well for himself, and he's smart, and that's the way I feel about it. So, but anyway, I'm all about the 2 years and moving on and get that thing open so these people can go somewhere and bowl and have some fun.
Well, until
Can you bowl? I mean, is that legal now? I don't even know if that's illegal. Is the bowling alley illegal?
Steve,
Well, if we sell it, somebody else will come in and buy
Steve,
it and open
bowling,
it.
until this pandemic come under control, you can't bowl.
He's a good businessman.
Is the one in Farmville open, do you know?
Yes.
Yeah.
It is open?
But it's not,
It's not doing well.
I mean, yeah, it's not cars in the,
Like
it's not
renting
1,000
out?
cars in the park, like grass is growing in places.
Maybe renting it or whatever.
All right, well, wait a minute, maybe we thinking about this, maybe we're putting a cart in front of the horse here. If we gonna have issues with the pandemic and everything, don't it make more sense to go in and try to sell it now while he's struggling? Before you renew a lease? And if the thing sells, well, we don't have to renew a lease. We're collecting taxes.
It's not gonna sell.
Yeah, that was part of what he was trying to help us with, John. And we talked about that in the meeting, that he was trying to find somebody to buy it and you know, let it stay open and then pass the baton. That's what he was trying to do. I truly believe that, but.
We need to bring this to a head.
Okay, well,
What are we gonna do? Lynn, what are your thoughts?
If, I don't know if he's amenable to it, but I would be willing for a 60 to 90-day extension of the lease, allowing him to submit his plan for reopening this, and provide us a list of his equipment so that we could take a look at the plan to see if it was reasonable. But that's my thoughts.
I concur with you, Ms. Shepherd.
Okay. Did you hear that, Steve?
Yeah, that's fine.
You okay with that?
yeah, that's okay. Mhm.
Okay. Lynn, will you put that in the form of a motion?
Yes, I make a motion that we offer to extend Mr. Carmichael's lease for a maximum of 90 days to allow him time to present a plan for resuming operations.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. And then you'll get with Katie on the motion.
Yeah.
Those in favor, let it be known by the usual sign.
Aye.
Those opposed?
Nay.
The ayes have it. 4 to 1.
It's all right.
Okay, record Mr. Bowen has. Okay, solar farms.
Yes, sir. Mr. Chairman and members, last meeting we had in December, we talked about the Planning Commission's recommendation to the Board of Supervisors to join a local government consortium of members with advantage strategies in order to help us amend and improve our commercial solar farm article in the zoning ordinance. I've provided you with some typical information that Advantis supplies their constituent members. So we really need to know what we're going to do. They're still interested. They're still wanting us to join. They're still sending us actually information that we haven't paid for, nor have we really asked for, and they're sending it to us as a good faith measure. And we need to probably say we're either going to join this group or we'll need instruction from you on how we're to proceed to improve the comprehensive plan and the zoning ordinance with respect to commercial solar farms.
Mr.
Okay.
Chairman.
Do we join this consortium? Go right on.
Chairman, if I may, I've heard from another county that had joined this coalition. They pointed out that there are quite a few counties, including Lunenburg, Mecklenburg, Appomattox, Charlotte, Halifax, King and Queen, Sussex, Prince George, and Richmond County, are part of the organization. They have found it to be a great benefit that this coalition, that first of all, there are a number of laws being adopted at the state level forcing their energy companies to meet certain thresholds by 2045, and solar is a large component. And the General Assembly, through legislation, is now making solar development very advantageous to local governments. This particular county said that they are using the revenues being generated by solar farms to enhance emergency services in the county, toward economic development, recreational projects, and capital improvement plans. They said that the coalition is very active in understanding the legislation and working on the laws in order to represent the localities. They just think it's a good source as a form of economic development. They know that the solar farms are controversial, but placed and built appropriately, they can provide great financial resources to the county. So I did want to share that that came from information from another county.
So it would be to our advantage to join.
Mr. Chairman, I would ask you, if I could ask Mr. Procise a question. It's only for, this is renewed yearly, correct?
Yes, it's an annual due.
Okay.
Right.
Well, at this point, I'd make a motion that we join in and pay the dues for the year.
A second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded that we join the consortium of solar farms. Those in favor, let it be known by the usual sign. Opposed? The ayes have it.
Mr. Chairman, once we officially join, we had talked at the last meeting about having a possible joint meeting of the Planning Commission and the Board of Supervisors and allowing Advantis to come and basically give us a presentation. Is that something you'd be interested in?
Yes.
What about it? Can we do it on the normal Planning Commission night? Would that be?
That's certainly a possibility if you want to do that. That's the Tuesday before the third Thursday, if it fits within their schedule.
Okay.
I think the Planning Commission would approve that.
Just a thought.
That's okay.
So is that what you want to do? Is to go ahead and try to set up a joint meeting? All right.
Do you need that in the motion?
Okay, Stephen Lynn report, the animal shelter.
You're looking at each other.
Okay. You all have already been issued a purchasing order on that, am I right?
Well, let's see. Since the last meeting, Steve, you and I met with the architect, and he subsequently provided an engagement letter with a scope of work and a questionnaire to the county, collecting a variety of information related to the current animal intake for at the animal shelter, as well as some geotechnical. What is that me?
I don't know.
Is it?
It's just the feedback we would like to
Okay. Okay.
And we have provided all the information that they have requested, Ms. Shackleton, both through our office and the animal control officers.
And John, you copied on all that information too, and I appreciate that.
Okay, good.
Mr. Chairman, if possible, Mr. Abbott had posed some unanswered, what he felt were unanswered questions about the animal shelter at the last meeting. Would it be all right for me to provide responses? Yes. Let's see, Mr. Abbott, you had asked a few questions about whether we were accepting the land gift from Mr. Boswell about the acreage and whether it would be the future home of the animal shelter. Yes, Jack Boswell has offered to gift to the county a site in Burkeville. The board has agreed to accept this, assuming that we don't run into any engineering site problems in the future. The site contains approximately 2¼ acres. Mr. Boswell indicates that more is available if needed. You had asked if the architect that was recently hired is duplicating work that the first architectural firm presented. The architectural firm that we have hired for the current phase of the study noted that the previous study contained a good deal of useful information that will be referenced. However, the firm RRMM plans to expand upon the original study information by gathering a variety of data that will be critical to right-sizing the facility. They plan to provide more detail and clarity to the existing study by working with the county to answer these critical questions. You asked if there had been any segment cost estimates, site prep, building cost, interior development. RRMM's current scope of work includes providing the county with a programming report, which will include an opinion of probable cost that will include site work, soft cost, and proposed contingencies. Let's see, additionally, they note their study will provide recommendations for the new site in terms of location in the service area, visibility, access, suitability, parking, and site size. You asked if the architect was asked to size the facility to the land, a specific square footage, or to a cost target. The architect's going to provide a conceptual design, including size, based on a needs assessment developed from the information that he has received from the county. And then from this conceptual design and their opinion of cost, the county will work with the architect in right-sizing the building, considering needs and budgetary constraints. The architect has already noted that from the original study referenced a 7,700 square foot building, and they have indicated that it is their opinion right now that is too large for. Let's see. You also have provided some opinions on your thoughts about 7,500 square foot building and cost, comparative cost of residential construction. The county and RRMM are very cognizant about the cost and other factors that you mentioned. They are partnering with Shelter Planners of America, a national leading expert on shelter design, so we feel confident that they're going about this process in the right way. I hope that gave you some of the answers. Sure.
Okay. What's that?
Employee evaluations, G5.
Employee evaluation.
Okay, Mr. Rourke, evaluation.
Yes, sir. We'll make this pretty quick for you here. In previous discussions, we had talked about the employee evaluations being conducted in March. I think we just need to see if we can agree to that and go ahead and we can put that in motion to get that taken care of. Also, back in November, you guys were given a template that Ms. Shelkerton and myself in the office had worked on for those evaluations, and I just asked that if there's no adjustments that you see needed, that we would also just adopt that template as Procise's template that he would use doing those employee evaluations in March.
Yeah, you putting that in a motion?
Well, I'll put that in a motion if there's no discussion. So I'd make a motion to allow the county administrator moving forward to do employee evaluations during the regular month of March of each year.
So that was my question. That's going to be the clock.
I'm sorry?
The evaluation clock. You know, I mean, the state normally does theirs in September, October. We're doing it in March. Do you think that's a lot of work for budget?
Well, I think that's a consideration, but also we've got to consider we're going through this transition right now. And John, you've got maybe have some input on that?
I'm not the county administrator.
Well,
you would be doing them, sir.
Well, if that's what you instruct to do, that's fine.
I just think that's a strong workload on the. I mean.
Well, I would ask Mr. Process is would you need more time? Would you need February, March?
To be honest with you, Mr. Rourke, I haven't had time to look at it to know if I need more time. We'll do whatever we need to do. Whatever you instruct to do, we will do.
All right, well then, what I'll do is I'll withdraw that motion as I stated and do it like this then. I'd make a motion that prior to April 1st, Mr. Procise have the ability to do all employee evaluations.
I think that's a bad time.
When are we gonna do them? We gotta do them before.
I'm thinking too, John. I'm thinking up here.
I mean, if you think about it, a lot of this evaluation goes to, are we doing salary increases and stuff like that? That's gotta be worked into the budget, so we need these evaluations.
Mr. Chairman, can we go ahead, let me just ask you this. Can we go ahead and approve the template, but not put the date on it yet? Because that's the way the state did it, John. I mean, I'm telling you, March, April, you get ready for the budget. You got to have the budget approved, and then fiscal year stops in June, and then you do evaluations September, and then the next evaluation period is October through September 31st. You kind of with me?
Yeah.
They're actually putting it on the fall.
Mr. Chairman, I truly hate to interrupt, but there's a motion on the floor. There either needs to be a second, or you need to withdraw or deny the motion.
He withdrew his motion, Mr.
He
Abbott.
made a second one.
Okay.
He made a second.
He had not completed his second.
He made a second motion to ask Mr. Procise to complete all the evaluations by April 1st. Then all of this discussion started. Sir, all I'm asking is follow the structure, which is motion, second, Discussion.
I'll withdraw the motion.
Thank you.
I'll make a motion to approve the template for the employee evaluations.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that we approve the template.
Okay.
Those in favor, let it be known by the usual sign.
Aye.
Those opposed? I hear the withdrawal. That's why I moved like I did. Okay, let's move on with the Mrs. Secretary.
Procurement
policy.
Yeah, in discussions with this county staff, we have agreed that rather than continuing to try to update the county's procurement manual and spending time to ensure that it remains current and in compliance with state code, it will simplify matters for us to just follow state code. And staff has been looking into some training opportunities, and that's where we are on that right now.
You put
Your
that in
recommendation
So
is
I'm
to,
making a motion that that we just begin to follow state procurement laws.
I'd second that.
it's been moved and seconded that we adopt the state policy. Those in favor, procurement policy. Those in favor, let it be known by the usual sign.
Aye.
Those opposed? The ayes have it. Mrs. Shackleton, on the emergency services.
Yes. Discussions with Mr. Prosize about the board and the county's overall preparedness and to adequately participate and respond to major incidents and emergencies, and about our current structure. In those discussions, Mr. Prosize came up with a suggestion that I thought was an excellent suggestion and should be considered by the board. He made a recommendation that the board should consider hiring a part-time emergency services director or coordinator. The position that would stay consistently trained, would act as a liaison between the county emergency services agencies and the Board of Supervisors. And John, these were your thoughts, so do you want to, as far as what you think the duties would be or what you would envision for that position?
Yes, ma'am. This position, as we've thought about it, takes no authority away from any of the emergency services agencies. All it does is provide a better method of communication between the emergency service agencies and the Board of Supervisors. Some of the duties that we have kind of come up with as what might be appropriate for this part-time position is to attend meetings of the county's emergency service providers and report as needed to the Board of Supervisors and through the county administrator. Review and analyze the county's emergency operation plans and procedures and make recommendations for revisions. Ensure that emergency operating procedures are understood by all participants in the county's emergency operations plan. Develop and conduct emergency training activities, events, and programs in conjunction with the county emergency service agencies. Coordinate responses to major disasters in the county, both natural and man-made. Coordinate emergency notifications on the county's Code Red communications program. Develop educational programs for county citizens to include informational material, presentations, etc. And be on call for incidents involving hazardous materials and make appropriate contact with local and state hazmat teams.
Do you have any costs?
No, we're proposing that this is a part-time position because we don't think right now we know enough to make it a full-time position. So it would be up to the board if they decided to do this. They would have to identify how many hours per week you want to be, and it would also be an on-call position so that if there was an accident, let's say, the dispatch center would call them up and we would pay them some type of hourly rate that the board comes up with. We believe that the experience and qualifications for such a job, it would be preferable if they had experience, either professional or volunteer in emergency services, if they have management experience, particularly in emergency services, excellent written and verbal skills, and the ability to work with the public. And that's what we've come up with so far.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, you know, it's getting to be time. I've been fortunate enough to have a couple meetings this week, and we had a sit down there with Chief Shute, and you know, now we're getting just kind of giving an idea of what he's up against, and he has been sharing information with me very freely, and he even said, he's not I'm not asking for money, I'm asking for help. And so he's developed I think he redone a mutual aid with crew to help with brush fires, call fires, and structures. And look, I'm counting them here, he's got 6 paid, and he's got 5 volunteers, and 3 of his volunteers is age 66 to 70. And you know, as a leader, he's not going to send somebody 70-year-olds in a structure fire, you know. But they're doing it because it's in their DNA, and they got the heart for it, you know. And it's but he's at wit's end now. You know, we gotta figure out.
That's a whole different thing.
What?
I need a motion to entertain the recommendation coming from the emergency services.
Mr. Chair,
the
would it be...
recommendation was to hire a part-time emergency services coordinator.
Mr. Chairman, would it be more appropriate to see if we can get a cost comparison before we hire someone, so we know exactly what we may be looking at the cost, or we can always reject it.
Yeah, why don't we?
We can do more research if you're curious about how much a position like this is paid. We didn't go that far because we don't know what your feelings are about the idea of the proposal itself.
I'd be for it. I just would like to have a cost
We haven't done
association.
that because we was putting the cart before the horse.
Right.
The consensus is that you want to hire a part-time.
Yes, sir.
I would say the consensus is to, see if I'm right, to get Mr. Procise to give us an idea of, you know, include it in the budget process for either we approve or deny.
We'll bring you some additional information that you all can consider at the next meeting. How about
We'll
that?
deal with it at
That'd
that
be good?
time.
Okay.
Move
Yes,
on,
sir.
Mr. Procise.
Okay.
Okay.
One other item in new business, just to let you know that Charles Simpson has resigned from the Nottaway County Board of Zoning Appeals. The Zoning Appeals Board is appointed by the judge, so after alerting you all tonight, we will probably be sending a letter to the judge asking for an appointment to the empty seat that Mr. Simpson held.
Okay.
Can we send him, Mr. Chairman, I don't know, a thank you
letter
from the board, please, sir, and you sign it? Okay.
Yeah.
Yes, sir, we'll do that.
Please do that. Okay, constitutional lawsuits. Ms. Brown? Sheriff?
Yes, sir. Good afternoon.
Good evening.
I just wanted to let y'all meet 2 new school resource officers. I told y'all last month that we would get them in place. This is Deputy Robert Sawyer. From Nottaway High School, and this is Deputy Nancy Sewell. She's going to be at Nottaway Middle School.
Okay.
Thank you.
Good choice.
Thank you.
Good officer there.
Congrats, thank you.
And other than that, nothing to report.
Okay. Mrs. Myatt? Ms. Hudson, I don't see her. Ms. Walters?
Just a quick update. Commissioners might not be aware, there have not been jury trials in Nottaway since March 17th, or I don't remember when the one was before that, but that was the first Supreme Court order from the Virginia Supreme Court. Just yesterday, we were approved by the Supreme Court to start conducting jury trials. Some things will still need to be put in place because we're actually going to be using this courtroom because it allows for social distancing of the jurors, and a video screen will be put in so that it can be viewed publicly from the circuit court. But I just wanted to let you all know that that's coming up. So you might start to see a lot more juries, a lot more people up here, lots of social distancing, lots of requirements. We'll probably be, either myself or the courts will probably be in touch with county administration because part of the plan requires cleaning every 2 hours during the jury trial. So, that was, I think, by the Supreme Court. So just wanted to share that information.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, on a similar basis, I put in front of you pictures of the General District Courtroom here and the Juvenile and Domestic Relations Courtroom in the back. The county has, at the judge's request, purchased these glass partitions that will be in front of the benches. I have a picture there for you to see how they look in both. This was very difficult for the county to find because any of the local glass providers couldn't do it, and we had to order it, and Ms. Toma was able to find it and order them for us, and they've already been used, and it appears to be doing pretty well.
Okay, the consent calendar.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that we approve the consent calendar. Those in favor, let it be known by the usual sign.
Aye.
Those opposed, the ayes have it. Mr. Process, information items.
Yes, sir. If there are any questions of the information items, if there are no questions, we'll just skip through those. Everything is in your package. Under County Administrator, you have the Building Inspector's Report, both the monthly and the 2020 Annual Report. You have the monthly and 2020 Annual Report for the Animal Control Officer. Wanted to let you know that the rabies clinic that is usually held at the Blackstone Animal Clinic in January is canceled due to the pandemic. They have told us that the situation is going to be month to month, and you can still make appointments by phone. Erosion and Sediment Control Report, we don't have one for you this time. Board of Supervisors 2021 meeting schedule, unless you all have some changes, that's what we expect it to be. The CLEO representative, you all need to appoint a member of the Board of Supervisors to be the CLEO representative. They are having their first virtual meeting on the 29th of this month.
It's a breakfast meeting. I think they meet at, what, 8:30 or 9 o'clock?
Usually, but now with virtual, I imagine it'll be the same time, but I don't know.
Sheldon's in Keysville.
Yes.
I will volunteer for that if.
Okay.
Do you need that in a motion? Or-
Yes.
Yeah, it would probably be
Okay,
better,
okay.
yeah.
I'll make a motion to approve Chairman Vaughn to be appointed to the CLEO, as the CLEO representative for Nottaway.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that Sherman Vaughn will be the representative of CLEO. And those in favor, let it be known by the usual sign. Those opposed, the ayes have it.
There was a situation of mold in the Social Services Office. As soon as we found out about it, we had it tested. We have the test results here. We didn't put it in your package, but it's available for review in our office. It's available for review even tonight. We've replaced the 4 stained ceiling tiles. The roof slate above the office had been repaired, and that was leaking. That's what caused it. They've cleaned the carpet. The thing now is we're waiting for it to rain to make sure that the roof is still not leaking. Then, if we find out that the roof is not leaking, we'll come back in and work on the insulation above the ceiling. We probably will have to remove that, but we have cleared the room for safe, so that the employee there will be in a safe environment. Of course, we've been working with Bernetta Watkins on all of this. You have in your package a letter from Rudy Elder about the Officers Club security. It's time to do some upgrades on that. I've talked with Mr. John Hill, who's our project manager at Pickett Park, and he recommends that you approve that.
I make a motion to approve Mr. Hill's recommendation.
Second. Do I get a second?
Second.
Okay, it's been moved that Mr. Hill recommend that Mr. Elder enter into an agreement about the Officers Club security. Those in favor, let it be known by the usual sign. Those opposed, the ayes have it.
Want to let you know that we have, our office has advertised for the website redesign in the Richmond Times-Dispatch last Sunday. As of today, I think we have between 12 and 15 respondents, and they're coming from all over the country, it seems. We will run that we will be accepting submissions for a while, and when we get to the deadline there, we will talk with you about how you want to proceed after that.
Okay.
The courthouse complex paint bids, we sent out the bid request for the courthouse, the second time actually, for the courthouse complex paint bids. And to be honest with you, the four bids we got in, the range was so far apart that I really don't even know how you all want to proceed. We had a low bid of $19,000 and a high bid of $270,130. And I don't even know where you go with that. It's hard to imagine that you could even buy the paint for $19,000. I would like for the board to tell us how they wish to proceed when the four bids range so widely.
I would suggest reaching out to the low bidder and asking them, did they understand what they were bidding on?
Well,
Get clarification from them.
Right, but should I do the same thing with the high bidder? You know, they're so much higher than the two middle bids.
To be fair, yes. Yeah.
When they respond to a bid, do they provide the scope of work?
They responded to what they had, and that was done prior to the first round of bids that we did. And I can't tell you, you know, this is a difficult thing because we did not, when the original bid documents were made, we didn't go into detail other than just to say basically all the buildings that we have up here. We didn't talk about timeline, we didn't talk about the quality, we talked about the quality of paint, but that could vary too. And it's just a little too loose, it seems to me, with those bids to really get an idea of who the best person would be for the county.
All right, fellow board members, let me ask you this. Should we reject all those bids and sit down and put a scope of work together and properly present it back out to the public for bid? I mean, they can't bid on it properly if we don't have a proper scope. And then we don't have to give them a time frame because you don't want them painting right now anyway. I would say once weather becomes applicable and project starts, amendable to the proper painting.
Just re-advertise?
I would prefer to redo the scope of work.
Yes.
And put a little more specificity in it. I guess what I would suggest is possibly rejecting all the bids and starting from scratch again.
I'd make a motion to reject all the bids and produce a proper scope to explain all the painting needs at Nottaway County Courthouse Complex to be placed out to bid.
I get a second.
A second.
It's been moved. John, you lost me. I know you want to reject all the bids.
Yes, sir.
Okay. And you said something about the spring.
Oh, I was talking about the time frame. They can put in the scope.
The scope, yeah.
They can put in the weather permitting during the proper time. So that would be covered in the scope itself.
Okay.
I'd like to work with the building inspector if that's possible, so that he can help define that scope. He'll have more experience than any of us will.
John, will that be part of your motion?
Yes, sir.
Okay. It's been moved that we reject the bids, and Katie, you have the rest of that motion.
You have the rest of the motion.
Those in favor, let it be known by usual sign.
Aye.
Those opposed, the ayes have it.
Mr. Chairman, you have a school choice proclamation in your package. It's up to you all whether you want to take any action on it or not.
I think we should.
Just from what little bit I've read about it, it seems to be an issue that a lot of debate, pros and cons. I don't know that I'd be comfortable. I would like to be more educated on this before I make a vote about it. Does anybody have any information they can present?
Yeah, well, number one, I think the county's attorney ought to look over this resolution to approve it before we take a vote on it. And during that time frame, we could also gather some additional information.
Yeah, I don't know enough about it either.
You want to wait until...
Should we table it?
Let Mr.
Mr. Procise, will you contact Dr. Grimes and...
Okay.
and then get back with us.
All
on
right,
that.
yes, sir, we'll
I
do
do.
that.
Okay, thank you.
She's right there.
Oh, Dr. Ryan, what?
She's right there.
Are you familiar with this initiative?
I don't know what you have in your packet, so but I'd be more than happy to chat with Mr. President.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, you have a bill for Mr. Elliott in your package?
Okay, that needs to be paid. I need a motion to approve the payment to Mr. Elliott.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded that we pay Mr. Elliott. Those in favor, let it be known by the usual sign. Those opposed? Okay.
The next item, Mr. Chairman, is a health program that you have in your package. That is L13. And what that is saying is that Nottoway County has been allocated 10,000 cloth masks and 10,000 bottles of hand sanitizer that the county can use to be distributed to low-income families, individuals with increased health risk contracting COVID-19, and communities of color. It's a good thing, but the one thing that we have question with in our office is how are they going to be distributed? We don't have the method to distribute now. The idea, I think, is to get civic clubs and churches and that type of thing to distribute it. So if you say that you want to accept it, we'll try to go ahead and get it and store it, and then try maybe to find some group that will actually get it to where it needs to be.
If I'm correct, I didn't see anything in here as far as any costs associated with this for the county at all.
No, it's just an allocation, yes, sir.
So I would move to approve the Health Equality Pilot Program to receive and make a consolidated, Jesus Christ, I can't even think right now, at a later date how they will be distributed, once we get it.
Okay.
I know what you're saying.
Second.
Yeah, I'll second.
Okay, it's moved and seconded that we accept this program and get with them at a later date to determine who will distribute. Those in favor, let it be known by the usual sign of aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, the ayes have it.
The next order of business is a mutual aid agreement with Piedmont Geriatric Hospital that's in your package. If you agree with that, we will sign it and send it back.
Okay.
I'm going to abstain now.
Okay, then I'll make a motion to sign the document as presented.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that we, with the Piedmont Geriatric Hospital Mutual Aid Fund, that we accept. Those in favor, let it be known by the usual sign.
Aye.
Those opposed.
Abstain.
Now, the District 1 housing,
Yes, sir, we have 2 completed houses. We need to release the deed of trust. We'd like for you to authorize Mr. Williams to complete the documents in order to do that.
and congratulate those 2 families who have
Yes.
done that.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that with the District 1 housing, that Mr. Williams will work with the deed, will complete the deed and the deed of trust, and give it to those folks who are paid for these houses. Those in favor, let it be known by the usual sign.
Aye.
Those opposed?
Mr. Chairman, the Extension Office is requesting basically for you to approve the hiring of an intern. They have the money to do that because, as you noted earlier in information items, Mr. Eric Bowen has resigned to move to another county. What they'd like to do is to be able to hire someone who's maybe coming up through Extension who might one day use that as their career.
I move to approve.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved that we, with the extension request, we grant that. Those in favor, let it be known by the usual sign.
Aye.
Those opposed? The ayes have it.
Local Government Day, that's in your package. Mr. Bowen has already signed up for that. That's something just for you all to consider if you want to do that. If you do and you need our assistance in the office, please let us know.
Mr. Bowen, do you want to invite us to your office too?
We can try to work it out. I'll see what if you guys can take off. Let's, get with Mr. Procise and we'll figure out a spot.
We'll have food and everything for us.
That's crazy. No, I gotta
Look,
feed
because if you don't have it, he's gonna bring it.
Gotta
It'll be in
feed
his
'em
pocket.
too, man.
No, Mr. Bowen, thank you, Mr. Bowen. You have agreed to it. So we'll go to Mr. Bowen's office for the
Great day, man.
local government day.
The next thing is Commonwealth Regional Council. The Hazard Mitigation Regional Plan representative, we need to appoint someone to do that. And then there's another action item you need to work on too. But we need to have an appointment for the Hazard Mitigation Regional Plan representative.
You're on that committee, aren't you, Mr. Bowen?
Yeah. I mean, I don't see anything wrong with it unless you guys want. I mean, we need to get that in too, don't we, John?
Yes, sir.
This
is the kind of thing that Megan was working on.
Right,
She was
and
here.
if you don't get these things approved, it's hard to get grant money and anything else, so. Anyway, I make a motion that we approve it.
Okay, it's been moved that we approve the Hazard Mitigation Regional Plan.
Second.
Well, wait a minute now, who do you want to be the representative?
Oh.
That's really what we're asking.
Me, I guess, I'm sorry.
Steve, I will appoint Steve Bowen. I want to appoint Steve Bowen on that committee.
Mr. Bowen, will you?
Yeah, I'd be glad to.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that Mr. Bowen will be our representative. He's already a member of the CRC. So those in favor, let it be known by the usual sign. Those opposed, the ayes have it.
Mr. Chairman, one other thing from the CRC, they have begun to start working, or will begin soon to start working on the comprehensive plan. They are wanting the board to tell them who the working committee will be. One option that you do have is that the Planning Commission team that worked over a year on the comprehensive plan that basically failed, that's a possibility. They have the experience, but we do need to assign someone to the working group that will work on the comprehensive plan with the CRC.
Mr. Chairman, I was on that team that John graciously said that we failed. And, but the only thing I just wanted you to make aware of, there was a lot of, I want, just be transparent here, there was a lot of District 1 people on that committee, but we can rectify that with the chairman, Ben Perry. But I think it ought to go back to the Planning Commission. There's a lot of knowledge there.
Okay.
And they really have a feel for what we need, So, Mr. Procise,
yes, sir.
Can we just refer this back to the Planning Commission, get the
That's your
team,
wish.
and they'd be our representative?
If that's your wish.
Unless you guys want to do it now, but I think we still got to vote on it.
Absolutely.
Right, that's right,
And you
that's
can make amendments to it too if you want to. I mean, and Mr. Bowen, I apologize. I shouldn't have said failed.
It did. You were blunt.
I should have said, I usually say something a little better than
We
that.
were this close.
That's pretty transparent.
That's what I was getting, man.
That can be remanded back to the
Would you make
planning.
a motion for that?
I'll make a motion that we refer back to the Planning Commission, develop a comprehensive team to be part of CRC development. And what they do is they're going to come in and interview them, and then you still got to vote on it if we miss out something. But you heard something tonight is you got to be careful. You heard something about that cell tower, and they watch that comprehensive plan.
Second.
Okay.
It's been moved. Those in favor, let it be known by the usual sign.
Aye.
Those opposed? It's been remanded back to the Planning Commission.
Mr. Chairman, the Knott House, the former registrar's office, we have advertised that for demolition. We've had quite a few people interested in it already. It's a fairly simple project to demolish the building, carry it to the landfill, fill in the basement, grade it, seed it, and put straw over it. We've had quite a bit of interest already.
Mr. Procise, just for clarification here, I know there's been some questions in the past, including some questions about Nottoway's procurement procedures. moving forward, now that we've adopted the state code, all these new bids are going to be open in public.
All of the bids are always open. They're not done in secret. Anybody can come that wants to come.
I'm saying, are we advertising that in the bid itself?
We don't advertise when they're going to be open, no, sir. Usually what we do is the bids are usually at the close of business, COB at 5 o'clock. And oftentimes we don't open them until the morning of the next business day.
Right.
Now, if you all want us to have a certain policy to do that, we'll be happy to do that. That's what we've done in the past.
I think we should do that because Blackstone does that. Town of Blackstone does that. They actually open theirs at like after lunch or something like that.
Well, what we do though is we say who's in the room, sign off, who's in the room, the time, place, and all of that. We do sign off on that too.
Well, I mean, I think it's just safer.
Okay.
Given the past history.
EPA requires that you do that, if that's what you're gonna adopt.
So we just, and what we do, because like when the town of Blackstone advertises their bids, they're showing the bid and to be open publicly. So basically, they only have to run one ad. This is the bid to be open publicly on such and such date at such and such time.
We can do that.
Right.
Yeah, put a time.
Right.
We can do that. That's no big deal.
Okay.
Okay, let me remind this board that we only have a half an hour, and we need to go into executive session.
But we're having so much fun.
Because the time is going to run out on us.
There's nothing else, Mr. Chairman, except that the new rules of procedure, the amended rules are in your package. That's all we have.
Okay.
I move to adopt.
Second.
It's been moved that we adopt the rules of procedure. Those in favor, let it be known by the usual sign.
Aye.
Those opposed? The chair will now entertain a motion to go into closed session.
I move that we go into closed session pursuit 2.2-3711A7, consultation with legal counsel pertaining to actual and probable litigation, I'm sorry.
So,
plus.
And then the 2.2
hold tight.
371AA, is that right, Lynn?
What is on the agenda, what you just read, was actually amended.
Right, to include
To
personnel.
include personnel.
Did you read it as it's listed on the agenda, or did you read the amended version?
No, I didn't read the amended version, Lynn. You can read that.
Right.
So I'll take my motion back, and Lynn, I'll let you read it.
Okay.
All right, so I make a motion that we go into closed session pursuant to Virginia Code Section 2.2-3711A8, consultation with legal counsel regarding personnel matters.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded that we go into a closed session citing the code. Those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Okay. I need to do what?
For Vivian to come back there.
I'm having hearing problems.
But I was just reading why. Virginia Department of Transportation ought to tell us in advance, not after. somebody owns the property, then you're gonna tell them, well, no, you can't bring a truck down here? Yeah, I mean, because. Well, I mean, the way they're doing it is sometimes.
May I ask you a quick question?
Yes, ma'am.
How you doing, first of all?
I'm hanging in there the best I can. This is nightmare. These meetings, you know, it's way too long. But it's just so much to go over, and they love to talk about things that, you know, normally it's a yes or no.